Now, a teenager has been left blind and partially deaf from a decade-long diet of junk food, mainly chips, crisps and white bread, as well as the occasional bit of processed meat. The teen's lack of nutrition severely damaged his optic nerve. Now, clearly, this is a very sad and extreme example, but I think we've all had that feeling of anxiety, haven't we, about a child who is a really, really fussy eater. I mean, I certainly have. And Nadia, surprisingly, you have too, because...
I know, it's so embarrassing, isn't it?
As the cook.
5 recipe books, winner of MasterChef. I was trying to get that in right. No, the common man's Nigella, and my kids are fussing around. No, you know, I think it's a really stressful thing, actually, feeding your kids. And my mum was like a lot of mums at that time. She was an old-fashioned in that way. You sit there and you eat everything and you don't leave the table. And I remember as a kid thinking, I'm never going to do that with my children. I'm never going to do that. And then when my children came along, I was, oh, they don't like that, so I'm going to cook them this, or they didn't eat their dinner, so I'm going to give them a banana. And all the older, wiser folk were saying to me, oh, you're making a rod for your own back. And I was like, oh, you know, this is my child, I know exactly what I'm doing. They were all right. Aunties, uncles, mums, all of you were right, I was wrong, because I did make a rod for my own back. But in my defence, I would say that there's so much conflicting stuff out there. Like, you know, the stuff that we hear all the time, don't make the kitchen table the battleground. You know, I was really aware that I wanted my children to grow up with a really healthy attitude to eating and their bodies and all of that. And I just think I overdid it the other way. I just went too far.
So, I mean, do they not eat stuff? I mean, what...
Well, they are really, really fussy. I mean, and for ages, you know, I mean, both of them used to say the only thing I ever want to marry is spaghetti. So they were vegetarians. Everything had to be beige. But you find your ways eventually to bribery and corruption and all of that. So I started giving huge bowls of vegetables with loads of butter and garlic on and go, there you go. And they go, I don't want that. I said, but here's spaghetti. So they would eat that. Oh, that's the only way they could get the spaghetti.
See,
the veg.
I mean, there's another thing you say, don't do the bribery, don't say you've got to eat your greens or you won't get your pudding. And I mean...
but if you say eat your greens and you'll get your main, you get your spaghetti.
But
they're thinking down there for dancing.
Yeah. What does that positivity correspond to?
Well, I'm afraid on this subject, my positivity is not that kind of in your face, because with Amara, I mean, I tell you what the problem with me was. I had Zach, who's my firstborn, piece of cake, no problem at all. Eating olives at you know, at the age of 2, garlic, this, that.
Mine were exactly the
You know, and then I had Amara. Now, I can't tell you, and I go back and I think, I wonder if it's because I didn't carry Amara. Amara was adopted. I don't know what her mother ate. I don't know what happened, you know, what the diet was. But it was, and only till very recently, she's 8 now, it has been a real struggle. Because, first of all, she has a tiny tummy. She's teeny, and that's why I'm anxious, because I need her to get all the nutrients. But she goes like this. She used to go like this at the table. And you're just like, oh, my goodness. And then I think it became a control thing, because she realised that I became anxious at meal times. So she'd just be like, but I didn't make... She literally refused. It was a real control battle of the wills.
Would you give her something else if she didn't eat
No, I didn't. I didn't do that.
I should have done.
But then I did the worst thing. If you eat that, I'll give you some pudding. And you look back and I just feel like a really bad mum.
Oh, don't be silly.
No, but you do. You feel so bad.
No.
It should be the easiest thing in the world, isn't it?
It should be the easiest thing. I haven't had the best of time with certain foods because I'm Caribbean descent. We're raised on, you know, rice and peas and chicken and, you know, the stews. But my aunt always put veg to accompany it. So that was great. But something that my grandmother used to do, there's this thing called hard food. So it's like sweet potato, tanya and dasheen. And I found them, they were quite, they itch my tongue because they're quite furry kind of root vegetables, and it was like I put it in and my tongue would be scratching. And so my grandmother would say, you're eating it, and I'd say, yeah. And then what I would do was I'd have a piece of tissue and I'd put the food into the tissue and shove it in a corner. But I was such an age that I didn't know you have to clean up after you shove it in the corner. And so it was like growing things were growing. And then I got into trouble when she finally found that the stashed food that had been there for years.
Yeah.
Not years, but, you know,
Yeah,
it was stashed. And then I moved it from there and started chucking it out the window to try and get rid of it. But what I do with the children, with my kids, what I did, then I don't think they're fussy eaters, but I bring them into the kitchen with me and show them what I'm cooking. Because I used to have this thing about onions. I used to think they looked like worms, the lines on them, when you cut them. And so I instantly blocked that out. And then I found once I cooked with it and showed my children, this is the start, how it starts, and this is what it looks like, rather than showing them what it looks like at the end, then they understood it. And now I don't have a problem with that.
I mean, you say that about getting them in the kitchen. Katie has been in touch and she said exactly the same. My youngest is 4, incredibly picky, but she's in the kitchen making things and it's really made all the difference. You're talking about onions. Charlotte, this is good. She says put names on the things on the plate, like broccoli or trees. That's quite a good one. Onions are flies' wings. Now, I'm not sure.
I used to try and do that tree thing. And I go, Mummy, I don't want to eat trees. It doesn't always work.
It's working for Charlotte. It's good advice. Thank you very much.